Welcome to One on One. Today we feature Army Chief of Staff General George Casey. Listen in as he talks to our Gail McCabe.
Overall, just looking at the Army as a whole, how would you say we're doing? Tactically, strategically, family-wise, equipment-wise? How do you think we're doing?
I think we're doing very well. In fact, our soldiers already have made a difference and will continue to make a difference in Iraq and Afghanistan. I think we're getting through a very difficult period here. What I tell the soldiers and families, the next 2 years will be tough. But I think as the growth increases and we hold steady where we are, gradually things are going to start to improve in terms of dwell time and deployed time. And I think that's important. I think the soldiers and families need to understand that there looks like there'll be some daylight coming up here. And I hate to predict that because we're at war and there's no guarantees, but that is the direction that we're trying to shape and trying to take the Army. And we have a plan to put ourselves back in balance by the end of 11, and by that time we expect to be at a ratio of 1 year out, 2 years back. We will be finished our modular conversions, we'll be almost finished our rebalancing, and it'll be a different Army. It'll be a 21st century Army ready for the challenges of the 21st century. And we've taken the first few good steps here over these last couple of months, so we're okay.
You have brought 4 imperatives to the forefront since you've become Chief of Staff: sustain, prepare, reset that you spoke of, and transform. How are we doing on those 4 initiatives?
On the sustain side, sustain soldiers and families. I mean, they are the heart and soul of the Army, and we have to take care of them and ensure that we retain the best quality young men and women for America's Army. We implemented the Family Covenant. We've put $1.4 billion against it last year, 1.7 against it this year. And I think people should be starting to see the new hires and things start to come on. I'm pleased with the progress we're making in families. Still a long way to go. And we recognize that people are expecting us to deliver, and we got that, and we intend to deliver. On the wounded soldiers, our medical and medical action plan has made great strides in what we're doing to take care of our soldiers, from the time they're injured all the way through the process until they're either reintegrated back into the Army into civil society. I'm happy with the strides we've made on sustain. On the prepare side, to prepare our soldiers for success in the current conflict, we're doing very well in the training, very well in the equipping. We're having some challenges with manning, and we've had some units go out a little bit lower in strength than we would have liked. We made it up quickly, but that's not a good position to be in. And as the last of these surge brigades comes out, we'll start seeing some flexibility return to our personnel system. On the reset side, we're doing very well. Congress saw in 2007 the need to fully fund our reset. And so we are able to take equipment coming out of Iraq and Afghanistan, put it through the depots, and have it back in the hands of soldiers in a good condition. And that's absolutely imperative. It's the difference between a hollow force and a versatile force for the future. And lastly, we're continuing to move on our transformation. We're not standing still. We're 70% of the way through our modular conversions. That's the largest organizational transformation of the Army since World War II. And we started that in late '03, early '04, and we're 70% done. We're about halfway through our rebalancing, where we're taking soldiers who had skills designed for the Cold War, artillery, armor, air defense, some of those skills, and converting them to skills more relevant in the 21st century, civil affairs, psychological operations, military police, those kinds of skills. We're about halfway done that. Our depots are winning industry awards for production excellence. A few years ago, there was maybe only a handful that would get an award. Last year, 12 won the awards. And then I think something I'm most proud of here is we have published the first new capstone doctrine for the Army since 2001, since September 11th. And this is the doctrine that adopts full spectrum operations as the operational concept for the Army. And it says that Army formations simultaneously apply offense, defense, and stability operations to seize and retain the initiative and achieve decisive results. So we have elevated stability operations to the level of offense and defense.
With all of the pluses and the positive steps that you're seeing, Where are you not quite cutting it yet?
I mentioned the personnel, the flexibility back in the personnel system. That will come back, and particularly with our growth as we increase the size of the Army, we'll get some flexibility back there. The other thing we're watching very closely is mid-level leaders.
Captains,
majors, senior non-commissioned officers. Although the trends right now are fairly level and consistent with historical trends, it's something that we have to pay very close attention to. As I said, the sustained part, it's the people, and it's our soldiers, and particularly our mid-level leaders, who are the key to the long-term success in this Army. I think we had pretty good success with this selective retention bonus that we had for captains. We didn't quite get everybody we wanted to get, but we got a lot, and I think it sent a strong message to the families of the young captains that we were listening to what to their concerns. But those are the two things that worry me the most.
You have emerged as a very, very strong advocate for the Army family, the soldier, the family, the civilian workforce, the entire Army family. I suspect it's always been in your background, but now as Chief of Staff of the Army, you've become very, very vocal about it. What do you attribute it to?
A couple of reasons. First, I'm an Army brat, so I've been a member of an Army family for 60 years. So I understand what they go through. And as I was growing up with 4 brothers and sisters, and we were bouncing around the United States in the back of a country squire station wagon, and my mother's mantra was, make the best of it. And that's what we did. And as Sheila and I traveled in the first 4 months of my tenure here to get around the Army and to talk to soldiers and families and find out what was on their minds, it was clear to us that the families were the most stretched part of the force. And as much as we had done for families in my time in the service, we needed to ratchet it up to another level because we were asking much more of them than I would have ever thought. And so we did. And in fact, the family covenant, the 5 key elements of the family covenant were exactly what the families told us as we went around. I don't know how many times I heard, look, General, we don't need a bunch of fancy new programs. Fund the ones you have and standardize them. Mm-hmm. So that's the first element of the covenant. It said we need better access to quality health care, second element. We need better housing, third element. We need better educational opportunities and child care opportunities for our children. And we need better employment opportunities and education opportunities for ourselves. And so those are the 5 elements of the covenant. As anything the Army does, we have an action plan to deal with that. The Secretary of the Army and I get briefed on it every month. And as I said, I'm fairly pleased with the way this is going, but more to do, and we do intend to deliver on it.
General Casey, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Gail.
You've been listening to a one-on-one with Army Chief of Staff, General George Casey.